there so that we know. Perfect. Thank you, Ashley, Carrie, Sherry. Awesome. Perfect. Michelle, Marcia, Michelle, great. Hey, how are you? Franz, Dahlia, perfect. Okay, so just gonna give it about another minute until everybody trickles in. That's all, so everybody can hear and see. Thank you for being here today. I know for Canada we have our long weekend, so thank you for spending your holiday with me. Oh, someone said can't hear me. Just check your phones, not your phone. Check your settings. It seems like everyone else can hear. And there's an unmute button as well for you to, on the screen there's an unmute. So try that, and then if it doesn't work, try refresh again. Emma, this is for Emma. It says can't see or hear you. So it's your computer setting. Take your camera off or hit the microphone icon. So let's see if that will work for you, Emma. Yeah, so thank you for spending your time today. If you're having a holiday with me, that's awesome. I know this presentation that we're going to go through today was a popular demand, so a lot of people wanted it to be brought back. Hi, Tiffany. Hi, Patricia. So there's a couple of names that I know from other webinars, but if you give me a shout out from where you are from. Carrie, thank you for bringing this back. Perfect. Yes, you're very welcome. We do have like our videos on our education site, but sometimes, good morning, Samantha from Vancouver. Sometimes it's nice to do it live like this, just to get the questions answered, more intimate, more be able to relate to you as we're talking, right? And be able to answer those questions. Halifax, Carrie from Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, Calgary, Kelowna, BC. Welcome, everyone. I am in Toronto, Ontario. This is where I am located. We'll have some people as well from the US. There we go, Pennsylvania, Shelley. For the people, because I believe tomorrow some provinces are going to be able to go back to work in the salon and spa. How is it going in the US? I saw somebody from Baltimore, Alberta, Kitchener. How is it in the US? Has anybody on this chat, on this webinar today has already opened up? It depends on the state, yes. Yeah, so there was a couple of states that already opened, but I just wanted to see how, if it's your state that was open, were you able to open okay? Because it's a little tough right now even to reopen with missing so much of almost 3 months of business. So just wanted to see how everybody is going. So June 1st, Rose, where is that again that you're opening June 1st? Yes, Vancouver. Hey, Holly. Yes, Vancouver opens tomorrow. And I believe some already opened some provinces last week, some smaller provinces. Today's the first day for salons in South Florida. Hey, Renee. Okay, for South Florida. Will probably not be till July. Okay, so there's a big gap from some states when they're opening, because I see some people said June and July. But even then opening, it's going to take a little bit of some time to just get that structure set down. I don't know if anybody sat into the infection control webinar that I did on Friday. There's a lot of information to know to be able to start again and to be able to get the trust of your customers to come back in again as well. And it's also going to have a lot of added cost for those security measures or those disinfection measures you're going to take. So it's going to be very tough, but if you build the trust of your clients and they can start coming back, then that could help your business as well, right? So Ontario is in the first phase of opening, but no salons. Yeah, no salons or spas are in this phase. I noticed that as well as I was checking since I'm in Ontario. Yeah, okay. So thank you everybody for sharing that. I just want to know too, right? It's nice to hear from the other end and see how they're doing as well. So we're going to start the presentation because we do have a lot of slides to show with the colors. So I'll introduce myself for whoever on this presentation doesn't know who I am. So my name is Chrissy. I work at a company called CBN Group. We are the master distributorship for beauty products to the salons and spas and I'm the head trainer for RefectoCil, and as well I teach infection control. So this is all across North America. I'm the head trainer for RefectoCil. So what we're doing today is webinars. I'll do trainings, trade shows. I have a real passion for RefectoCil. I love it, and I see by everybody else's feedbacks as well. Using RefectoCil, the passion they have, the love that they have for RefectoCil. So I'm happy to be working with a manufacturer that has such a high, how would you say, high grade and a high reputation, right? So I hope you have that, keep that passion going with RefectoCil. So for Colette, will the slides and or recorded presentation be available to use the reference? Yes, yes, they will. You'll get the recording. And then you'll also, I believe I did put the slides, the link to the slides. If you didn't get it, email me. We'll have that at the end. It was my, sorry. But I think I did put the link for consent form and slides. And then the recording comes automatically. But always keep me posted. I can send those out to you. You're very welcome, Colette. So if anything happens during this webinar that you can't hear or you can't see, just try and refresh your screen. That's what people have done, and they're able to get back going into the webinar. Also, if you have any questions, let's try and go through the slides first, and then we can spend some time after the slides to ask some questions. Okay, so we still have some people trickling in. So we'll start though with our custom coloring and shaping. So we know brows very important to framing, shaping our face, making expressions, but brows will never have an end. Whatever we do to our brows will always keep changing, innovating, or bringing back old styles or creating new ones. And we can see that if we ever do Google or check the history trend of brows, how they started, and I always, when I teach, I like to mention how even back in the time of 3500 BC with the Egyptian times, how even the men, but the women too, they emphasized their brows by just taking coal tar from the ground, all those minerals, and darkening. So it's been an emphasis on a woman, but as well men, to create that shape. So what we're going to learn today is how to actually use all the colors that RefectoCil has to offer. We have 8 colors, how we're going to mix them, how we're going to enjoy playing with them. I like to create my own concoctions for my customers, like to make my own recipes so that nobody else can tailor to that because they don't know what I'm mixing, right? So that's the fun that you want to have with the colors. Also to create new colors that you don't see, that you don't have, for purples and steel blue and some pinks. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun, and you want to be able to have this expansion to be able to bring more clientele in and set yourself also apart from another salon that's just doing the basic tinting. Okay. So this slide that we have here is basically just showing the process of if you have somebody in the, because it's showing the power of brows, right? So if you have somebody in the center right here with this nice, you see in the center image, this nice white, cool color of blonde hair, and then we want to create that contrast. So as we can see right now with that warmth that she has in her brows in the middle picture, not really doing any good to her, and even washing out her face. So when we go to the left side with the arrow, this is the bleaching process. And then we go on to the right side of the arrow, we see the, when you do deposit the color, how much more contrast the color, how much more depth and pigmented the color will be. And this contrast is very in right now. I can say a couple of years ago, maybe it was a hit and miss. I kind of did the contrast on myself, but for me, it didn't look good. So you have to also see with your clientele how you're going to cater it to make them, to enhance their beauty as well. So on today's PowerPoint, being a broista and creating those wow brows with RefectoCil. So 4 steps we're going to go through to this amazing, excellent service that we want to create to our customers, or bring in if you haven't ventured off to more colors or mixing your colors. So we're going to talk about consultation. And consultation is very, very important, not to do the consultation and the patch test in the same day of the treatment. You want to be able to do it, you want to not be able, you have to do it about 48 hours ahead of time, because that's the standard time we want for the patch test to see if anybody has had any reactions to the tint. Because if they're taking certain medication, it could have an effect. If they're doing Accutane, or retinol, you should stray away from somebody doing that. You shouldn't do treatments like that, and because their skin is very sensitive, until they're done their treatment. And even when they're done their treatment, you have to wait. You can't go right away the next day. Okay, I finished my treatment the day before, and now I'm going to start servicing you right now. No, you have to wait as well until that process is a couple of weeks away. But that's why patch tests are there, to help you to determine if that client has some kind of allergies. You'll never want to determine that while the client's in your bed laying down halfway through the process and they're burning, and then they're left with some kind of marking on their brows. We're there to enhance their beauty, not to create a devastation or make them feel not that they experience a spa-like feeling, but also looked put together. So those patch tests are very, very, very important. All the trade shows that I do, I always have to ask how many people do patch tests, and out of maybe 150 people in there, I would have one person. So important, remember, okay? It's your client's safety. Cheryl, where to place the patch test? So when we go through the slide, it's going to be on your inner arm or behind your ear, where people have a little bit more sensitivities because the skin's a little bit more sensitive there. So inner forearm or behind, but you have to mix the color with the oxidant, not separate it together, because that enhancing, that oxidizing is what's going to help penetrate. So we want to see if those two reactions together are going to affect. Most of the time, it's the color gel that what's affecting people, whatever the ingredients in the color gel. Then we're going to talk about preparation. So prep is important to get the results that your customer is deserving, as well to have those results last, we say 4 to 6 weeks, okay? Shape and custom coloring, and then care, aftercare. Very, very important. You go to the hairdresser, you get your hair done. They don't just shampoo it and let you go, or style it. You need some kind of aftercare. You need some kind of conditioning. You need something to seal the treatment, or maybe if you did a processing, to seal your ends in, because you might have been over processed and kind of a little bit caused some breakage to your hair. So our product is not going to cause breakage to the hair, but we want to be able to maintain moisture, because we are doing a processing, and as well we want to seal in the treatment, right? We want the tint to last longer. And so let's go start off with our consultation. So your consultation is the time to get to know your client, especially if they're a new client coming to you. They were referred, they saw your ad, and you're offering these services. You want to get to know them. You want to get to know what their desire is. What are they here for? What do they want to achieve? What don't they like right now of their current brows? And that way you can create in your mind at that moment, as they're telling you, you can create and put down, this is what I'm going to be able to give you with so-and-so and so-and-so colors. And then you won't have any issues, because you put them into your consultation. You put their feel, you put their feedback into it. So you're going to give them what they want. Okay, so questions that you're going to ask them are, how long has it been since your brows were formed? This is important as well for you to know that they have done services before on their brows. And what bothers you about your current brows, or what would you like to change? Have your brows ever been shaped or colored? And are you ready for your new brow styling by RefectoCil? Okay, excite them. Okay. And then during this consultation is where you're going to have a consent form, which should be getting sent out to you, as I mentioned before. If it doesn't, you can email me at the end of the presentation. But this consent form, you can cater it. You can put your logo on it. You can add questions that you feel might fit. It's 2 pages, so hopefully we got everything in there that's needed to ask. But you're going to have them coming in 48 hours before. They're going to sit down with you. You're going to go through the consent form. You're going to go through all the questions. You're going to look through the consent form with them. If there's any medication on there that you don't really know what it's for, ask them. It doesn't have to get too personal if they don't feel to, but it's something you need to know if it's something that's going to affect the skin. Like for me, if I have somebody that's hair thinning, or even on their brows or their lashes, they're thinning and they're getting bald spots, and they're taking medication for a condition called matarosis, I'm going to ask if that medication is for that, because that medication that they take makes the skin extremely thin and sensitive, and the tint can burn. And also, if you're not aware, we're not doctors, we're not physicians, we don't know all the medication out there what's for. You can also ask them kindly to refer to their physician and see if it was okay. And maybe even, and if they come back to you and they say it was okay, you don't have a doctor's note or anything like that, you have to make sure that's in verbiage on your consent form and they've signed it, that a physician has agreed that it's okay to get this done. Okay, just to be safe on your end. And then put the patch test on. While you're doing that talking, a couple minutes needs to be put on, and then after a couple minutes needs to be wiped off. Then you're done with everything, you send them home, and then you call them in that 48 hours. Everything good? Good, perfect. We got you booked in for your appointment, and they're ready to go, and you don't have to go through the whole through the treatment halfway, find out that you've burnt them or anything like that. Okay. The second page here is the perfect color. So determining, I do get emails that ask me to like, how do you know what color fits who or what to use on who? Majority of the time, if it's your clientele that's going to want that matchy look, because like back in the day, it was to match your brows to your hair color, but now with so many trends going on or so many different colors of the hair going on, you're going to have to custom it. But if somebody has brown hair, you're going to be using your browns. But if they wanted a cooler tone of brown, you're going to mix your graphite with it. So we're going to go through this just to see how you can choose the right color for your client, matching to their skin type, if they're warm or cool undertone. If you're a makeup artist, this comes very easily to you. Mix graphite to cool the warm tones. So you're going to use graphite for those cool type clientele, and the reds, for example, are chestnut and are red to warm down. So depending on what the customer needs or to match their hair, you can warm it down or cool it down. Graphite, I love. I use it constantly, all the time. It's my best friend. Okay. If the hair color is very light, it's advisable to tint the brows 1 to 2 shades darker to frame the face. Unless they do desire to have that contrasted look. If with black hair and sharp facial features, the eyebrows can be 1 shade lighter to let the look appear less hard and dominant. Okay, so those are a little bit of like tips to remember. So now we start with the colors so that everybody can know what colors we have, because even that I get calls and if they see this trade shows, they're like, oh wait, you have this color, oh you have this, we didn't know. So let's see the whole range of what colors RefectoCil has to offer. So our pure black, beautiful color. It's more of a matte color. So and I tend to mix my black a lot with my browns. If I have a darker skin clientele or an African American clientele, I use my black a lot, but I don't want to make it too, if they don't want too contrast, I like to mix it with my browns. I remove the graphite and I take the brown and the black, okay? So then you have your graphite. So as we mentioned, if you have a clientele like this in the picture, perfect with that silvery gray hair, and you want to give them that cool brow, because it wouldn't look nice if they had like reddish looking brows with the hair that they have going on as in this image. So you would have to use the graphite to give it that cool look, and it looks beautiful, very, very beautiful, as in our model. So it can be used alone, or it could be used to cool down the colors and also to create that steel blue that we mentioned. Then you have your blue black. Your blue black, when it comes to lashes, it's the most popular color because it's got like a glisten to it. It's got a gloss to it. So if the lashes hit the light, they got a nice like shine to them. But I've been using it a lot on brows as well. What I do is I mix it with the black to add more depth. So you can get both of them together there so that you have still a little bit of that sheen going on, because remember the black is more matte. So I mix those two together. And then you have your deep blue. So this one, once again, if you're using it on lashes and the lashes are lighter, you're going to get that nice hue of blue. For the brows, if they wanted the blue brows, and we're going to go through the coloring, if they wanted those blue, steel blue brows, this is what you would take, number 2.1, with your black. But also if you wanted to, it's not black, sorry, with your graphite. But also if you wanted to create that nice, what was I going to say again? Oh, purple, you would have to mix it with the red. Okay, so you would take the blue and the red and you would mix them, or you take the blue and the graphite to create that steel blue. Okay, and we'll see pictures of this so you can get an idea of what they look like on the brows. Then you have your natural brown. Your natural brown will be your most popular color that you're going to be using. It's the one you're going to be running out more. It's the one you're going to be stocking more, as well as if you're going to start doing beard tinting. If you sat in any of in the past beard tinting webinar and you want to venture off into that, your browns are going to be as well used for your beard tinting. So the browns in RefectoCil have a very, very warm undertone. So if the customer has a warm undertone, but their hair does not reflect warmth and they don't want warmth because it was probably colored, processed, right? Then you have to take the graphite and mix it. It's mandatory, or else you're going to get that redness in their brows, which they didn't want. Okay, and that's the same thing with our, let's get this right, with our light brown as well. Okay, so you're going to mix it with the graphite, and in order to get that warmth away, because they automatically have warmth, these hues, these browns. But what I also do is I like to take the two browns, which is very much so I do with a lot of brows. I take the light brown and the natural brown and I mix them together all the time to create a little bit of a different shade of brown. This works a lot for me on beard tinting as well. Okay, so that's why you'll see that these two colors are the ones that you're going to go through very, very, very quickly. Excuse me. Then you start getting your chestnut. This color just on its own, as this model has on her, because you can see the hair color has that auburn reddish. This color just on its own, a beautiful color. If I can get somebody like that sitting in my chair that needs that fresh look on their brows to match this hair color, I love to use the graphite. I love to demo the graphite to see it. Such a beautiful color. So, and another way you can use your graphite is if you want to warm down. So if you didn't want to overly warm down, because if you use our red and mix it with the brown, so you don't do it properly with a very small pin size amount, the red is going to be so overpowering. And I've had pictures of people saying, help, 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 where they turn very like Ronald McDonald red. So it's a little scary. Sorry, there's a question. Pamela, hey there, I came in late to get a printout of this. Yeah, you're gonna get a printout. I'm not a printout. You're going to get an email sent back. Okay, Pamela. So we just started. We're going through the colors, so you didn't miss too much, but you will get this presentation sent to you. So the chestnut, yes. If you want to venture to warmth, but you're a little bit too scared at the beginning to mix, and you're not really comfortable with the red, because there's been a lot of like hit and miss with the red if you don't get your proportions properly, I say start off with the chestnut, with mixing it with your browns or even cooling down your darker like blacks. Okay, so then you go into the red. As you can see, the coloring is bright, okay? And even when you want to create your purples or you want to create your cotton candy pinks, follow the ratios that are mentioned in this presentation, because one slight, like just like even with a hairdresser, the hairdressers will be a little bit more easy with using this and mixing, because they know that if you're an esthetician, you never mix and you're going to have any you're gonna have a hard time. You have to strictly stick to the ratios. And what I always suggest when I teach is to take strands from hair from a hair salon, if you work at a hair salon, or if you cut and stick them on a paper and just test them out, test the coloring and a variety of different hairs that have been processed, or hair that's been bleached, hair that's been natural. Obviously the lighter colors, the reds and so, you cannot you can't lift, you can't make them. So if I wanted red brows and I had black brows, I'd have to bleach first, and we're gonna go through that. I'm seeing some questions, sorry, because we're just trying to keep the questions to the end. But Candice, are there any colors that cannot be blended together? No, you can play around with all the colors except the bleach paste, the blonde brow. So we're gonna go through that. Luia, are you going to go through approximate proportions when it comes to mixing colors? Yes, we will. We will. Yep, we're getting there. But the cut hair, yes, Shelly, it's helped a lot of students because, as I mentioned, when you're an esthetician and you're welcome. As an esthetician, if you don't know how to mix colors, it's gonna frighten you. And I've been at schools helping to teach RefectoCil, because they carry the product in there, and instead of getting purple brows, the poor teacher got like bright, bam, red brows, and we have to sit there and correct it, right? And it's not easy to correct it, especially if you're not a hairdresser, right? So you have to take a touch of graphite, you have to take a touch of like the black or something, just to cool it down and start then putting more blue to make it turn more purple instead of being so red. So you start to play around like a painting, right? But if you get it the first time, it's easy. If you get it as close the first time, it's easier to correct it. And especially if it's their brows, it's pretty predominant there, so we want to be careful. But we'll go through the ratios. So let's look at the last one. So we have all our colors. Jesse, yes, I will. When we go to the ratios, I'll speak slowly. So did you miss anything about the color mixing that I can go through again? About graphite. Graphite is to cool down. We want to use the graphite to cool down our browns. And then we want to use the reds, the chestnut and the red, to warm down the browns or any other color. And then when you're doing the purples, when you're doing the cotton candy pinks, steel blue, we haven't reached there yet. So when we reach to the slides, you'll see the mixing. Okay, so hopefully you didn't miss anything. Perfect. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you. So the blonde brow now. Please don't mix this with any colors. I do have people calling me asking, I mixed it with the color, it didn't work. This is a bleaching paste, okay? So, but it's the safest bleaching paste to use on your brow area. You don't want to be, if you're a hairdresser in here and you're using whatever's left over into your bowl, stray away from that because it's higher peroxide, which is damaging for the hair on the brows. Also, you're working very close to the eye area, and that is not ideal, okay? So the blonde brow that we have is able to lighten up to 3 levels of your brows and then be able to deposit a color and give them the desired look that they want, the desired color that they wanted. Also for those customers that you have that have those gray, bristly white hairs that are extremely, stubborn, I have that for my mom, for example. I always have to, when it's her touch up again, I will have to pre-soften them just for a little bit to break that coarseness, that stubborn gray hair, and then I can deposit the color. But we'll go through that as well with the slides. Let's look at some before and after pictures and see what they had achieved. So for this model here, they actually did take the light brown and mixed it with the chestnut. Okay, and to give that, so these, with the chestnut, if you didn't want to achieve that much warmth, they say pin size amount. But if you want it, if her hair was slightly more redder than brown, then you can do equal parts. But remember, even the chestnut can get a little bit more predominant, and it might look too red, right? So here, what they did was a pin size. If you want to add a little bit more because it desired the more red to show, then increase that pin size. Pin, okay? Perfect. This model right here, what they did was they mixed the natural brown with the red. So they wanted just to cool down a little bit the natural, not cool down, they wanted to warm down a little bit the natural brown because don't know if you can see in the image, but she has some highlights. So right here at the corner, she has some warm highlights. So instead of it looking too red, like the previous model, by using the dark natural brown and then putting only a pin size of the red, you can see that her brows are not as dark as her roots, but give that illusion as her highlight. Okay? And you can see from the before and after how that structured her face as well. These are really good befores and afters to see. Then we have our other model here with the contrast brows. So if you're going to create the contrast brows like we showed at the beginning of the slide, you would have to bleach them. And depending on the contrastness that they want, depending how in depth they want that contrast, that's how you know how many levels to put the bleach. Is it level 1, level 2, or level 3? And we're going to go through the slides for that to see the information of the bleaching paste. But this is how you would do the contrast, and they use black actually. They mix the black because they wanted to give that depthness, but they mixed it with the natural brown, so it's not too overpowering if you just had used black. If you just had used black, it would look potentially like just black caterpillars on the eye, and the contrast on the brows, and the contrast would just go to the brows, and it wouldn't go to the nice hair color that she has. Now when I look at it, before she looked washed out, now with the contrast, but not too black on its own, I can even look at her total look. I'm looking at her eyes. I'm looking at her brow. I'm looking at her hair. I'm looking at everything instead of just like, whoa, brows, right? So that's what we're trying to achieve. Is a leveling of the bleach. So the different types of levels, we're going to go through that slides, is according to your timing. Okay, so we're going to be reaching it very soon. We're going to go through to the ratios for the color first, as somebody had asked, and then we're going to go through the bleaching. So prep work, we said we want to clean and prep. So with our non-oily, our micellar non-oily eye makeup remover, it also has the property of strengthening the hair. So I love using this, and I found that it's, as opposed to other makeup removers, because I'm also very sensitive, I have sensitive eyes when it comes to using liquid eye makeup removers. I found this one did not give me any sensitivities whatsoever, but it was also strengthening my hair with all those amino acids that are in there that are giving moisture. So your prep work, even if they come without any makeup, please, please, please do this step. There's environmental factors, there's sweat to counter, they're gonna have some sweat, summertime, anything of the environment, just getting into the brows, any dirt. We need to be doing this. And sometimes even when I do like lash tinting, and people say, oh, I haven't worn makeup in the past day or so, it's clean. I can still get some makeup out of there. So make sure that there's nothing there and you're working with a clean canvas. I didn't put it up here, but what I've discovered is using the saline solution that we have. So if you're doing any lifts here, lash lift or lash curls, anybody in this webinar, and you have to be using a saline solution, start using that when you're tinting. So use your micellar eye makeup remover to remove any of the makeup or any oils or this or that. And then you're going to take your saline solution to do the final degreasing so that your canvas is so prepped that your colors are going to come out so crisp. Okay. And here when it says tip, just tell them that you need to do this even if they come without any makeup. You're preparing so that their color can last as long as it should be lasting. If we didn't do any of these preps, or we didn't use the right product to do any of these preps, they wouldn't have that long lasting wear, and it would fade apart. And it comes along with other as well, like if they didn't do the timing right or this or that. But prep work, as we know with anything we do, so important. Okay. And then we have the protection cream as well. With the protection cream, if you're doing brow tinting and you want to protect your outline, the outer area of the brow, so you avoid staining, unnecessary staining. Once again, the tints are meant for the hairs, not for the skin. So if the client has any sensitivity and you're starting caking it onto the skin, they're going to be having some reaction. So put the barrier to avoid unnecessary staining of the skin. And then the brows won't have to look so uneven. And then you don't have to sit at the end and start rubbing their poor skin, and then it gets irritated. Okay. Also very important to know that your waxing or any sort of hair removal, either it be tweezing, either it be threading, has to come after tint. When you tint before, you can see the full scope of the brows. You can see every single hair so that you can give a proper shaping. But as well, the pores have been opened when you wax. So what's going to happen is that they're going to get irritated even more with the color touching their skin. And also it's going to leave dots of staining. So shape afterwards, okay? Now we go into the mixing. So your mixing ratios, so you prepped and now you're gonna mix. You're gonna take either your oxidant cream or oxidant liquid. They both do the exact same thing. It's just it just becomes preference of what you like. You want a little bit more creamier. I like to use a cream because I'm doing a lot of demo sitting up or this or that. If I'm doing a beard, I want it to stay on there. So it's preference. Some people say they find that the liquid helps penetrate faster. It's just what you feel you like. But the drops are different. The cream, it's 15 drops to 2 centimeters or 3/4 of an inch of the dye. And then for the liquid, it's 10 drops, so it's less. Now your 2 centimeters as well when you're doing brows might change because it's quite a lot of tint, 2 centimeters. So if you don't have somebody who has that lot of amount of brows, I tend to lower the tint to 1 centimeter. So if I'm going to go 1 centimeter, I'm going to do 8 drops of cream because I can't really do 7.5, and then I'm going to do 5 drops of liquid. So change up to what your tint will be. Then you're going to apply. So you got your brushes, you're going to apply with the direction of the hair growth. And sometimes I do tend to go back if the hair is a little bit more stubborn. I like to go a little bit back against it to get in there and start saturating. I hear a lot of people who call me and say that the tint didn't last that long. And I said, how long did you leave it? They said 2 minutes because their customer was freaking out. Don't take the tint off at 2 minutes. Start it at 3 minutes. Because 1 to 2 minutes is trying to oxidize, is trying to penetrate into the hair, it's trying to open up the follicles to get into there so it can deposit at the end and then seal up. If you remove it before, it's barely depositing in there. And then they come back in a week saying, oh, my tint's gone. Okay, so if they're panicking, assure them, if you've chosen as well the right color and you didn't go too dark, assure them that they're fine at 3 minutes. And then what I do is I take off one brow at 3 minutes and I show them and I say, is this okay? Half of the time, because you know what you're doing and you've got that confidence, half of the time they're like, okay, you can put it on a little bit longer, and then you have some tint left over so you can put it on. But involve them so that they're not panicking. Remember, they're there for a spa-like experience. Okay, so 3 to 5 minutes will be for a customer that wants that subtle look. Up to 15 minutes if they desire it to be darker. Okay, so if they want it to be that contrast dark, you can go up to 15 minutes. Red shades, they will always require a longer processing time. They're very hard to process, so up to 10 minutes. So sometimes I've had to leave it for 10 minutes, especially if I mixed it with the browns. And then when hair has been lightened with a blonde brow, only 1 minute application time because the hair, the color was stripped from the hair, and the hair is so accessible. Like it will take that tint right away and suck it in. So 1 minute is always a good enough time. Sometimes even in 30 seconds, I just remove a little bit just to see what it's grasping so that I know it's okay. And then I leave it back on. Okay. Then we go into your removal. So try remove first with dry, because you don't want any of the tint in the water falling into their eye. And then you can remove wet. So after you remove the bulk of the tint, then you can take a wet cotton pad and then clean it up. And if you start seeing any spotting or any, not spotting, staining, you always carry with you tint remover. I have phone calls of people asking, I tried water, I tried something I had in my salon to make it lighter and I can't make it lighter. And I said, do you have tint remover? They're like, no. And then they go and they purchase it. Always have it on hand for that customer that's going to freak out because the brows were too dark. Because I involve the customer and I remove it not full time and I let them see, I've never had, you need to have the tint remover, but I've been able to control any unnecessary staining or darkness by involving my customer. Okay, and then after that, you're going to apply the styling gel to condition the hair, okay, to condition and seal in that treatment so that it can last. So I see we have some questions that we're going to be going into the bleaching right now, soon. Okay, so I see 2 questions on the bleaching. For clients who have white blonde hair and sorry, for Nicole, for clients who have white blonde hair and want a light brown, I find 3 minutes would make them way dark for them. What do you suggest? So then in that sense, that if you have to leave it at 2 minutes, you have to also inform your customer that is not going to last long enough. So they're going to be coming back during that 3 minutes, because you can't, I don't want you mixing it with another brown, Nicole, because then it's going to be like, if you mix the 2 browns, it's going to be darker than what your light brown is. So I would suggest just take it at 2 minutes and just let them know that it's not going to last as long because I had to remove it earlier. Or what you can do is leave it for that 3 minutes, and when you remove it, soften it a little bit with the tint remover. Okay. So now we're going to go to our custom coloring. So Diane, the nourishing, you mean the styling gel? It's advisable to use it because, as I said, you've processed the hair. We want to maintain the beautiful shine of the hair, the conditioning of the hair. Just like when we wash our hair, we need to put a little bit of that conditioning because whatever day-to-day we've done to our hair, or even you might have to be putting a mask onto it. So it is advisable to use this the styling gel because we want to also seal in that treatment. So if there's a customer who's having a hard time maintaining the color because they're a swimmer, they're a gymnast, it's summer season, they live somewhere hot, you can sell that to them as well. And we'll go through that slide again of the product, okay? If you pre-lighten it, to make it last, you mean the color, but the thing is you're going to make it dark. If you're trying to answer Nicole's question, if you pre-lighten it first and then do it to make it last longer, yes, it works, but if that customer does not want it to be that dark, if you're lightening it, then she deposits a light brown, it's going to still be dark, even much more darker. So I wouldn't advise that for her. But yes, okay. So custom coloring, we're getting into the bleaching now, okay? We're getting into the bleaching now. So here we talked about the endless colors that we have to customize and to be creative, because we're browistas, we want to be creative. And we got our 8 colors in our bleaching paste, and we can define our brows. We can make them last up to 6 weeks, and we can get a recipe for each of our customers. Okay, so let's go into the bleaching. You're welcome, Katie. Sorry. Let's go into the bleaching. I want to answer everybody's questions at the end. I don't want to miss anybody's, and I just want the presentation to go through, so I won't miss your questions. Okay, and that way I don't have to scroll all the way back to find everybody's questions. So blonde brow. Okay, so enables salons to lighten eyebrows up to 3 shades, only 3 shades. We can't go any much more on the brows or else they will leave browless. Okay, so that's our blonde brow. And then we go to 3 reasons why we want to use the blonde brow. So the first reason was because we wanted to lighten untreated eyebrows. So for example, myself, if I've never dyed my brows before, colored my brow, tinted my brows before, but my hair was so blonde, like I used to be really, really platinum blonde, and then my dark brows, that contrast for me didn't look good. So I could just lighten it for maybe level 1 or 2, maybe 5 minutes or 12 minutes, and then I could just walk out. Don't deposit any color, nothing. It lightens so nicely that it matches. It doesn't match, but that lightness gives that blonde to give me that total look with my blonde hair, the platinum blonde. If though you bleached it and then they're warm undertone and they do have a little brassiness going in there, you have to deposit the graphite. But I had to do it every 10 seconds. I had to put it on and pull it off just to make sure that the brows did not go dark again. Okay, so if there's a customer that doesn't pull any redness, it doesn't get brassy after the bleach, good. They just walk out after the treatment. Okay. The second reason would be to lighten before a tint, because we know if the natural eyebrow color is way too dark, even if it's a dark brown or dark or black, it's hard to lift and you can't deposit a different color. So you would have to lighten it before with the bleaching paste, and it varies the timing. Remember, there's only 3 levels. The higher the level you go when you're lightening, the brighter the color that you put in will be, the crisper and the more brighter pigmented the color would be. So that's the conversation you have to have with your client. How bright do they want the red? How bright do they want the blue, right? Or whatever other color that you're putting it. Then you know to leave the timing 12 or 20 minutes. Okay, and we'll go through the little chart for that as well. So the third reason why we'd want to, which will be the most popular for you, for browistas, would be to get those white bristly eyebrows to work well with the tint, because if they're so coarse, the tint most of the time on its own cannot grasp. Okay, so you would have to do a pre-soften. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it needs those 3 levels. It just needs a pre-soften, which will be up to about 3 minutes. Okay, if you found that the 3 minutes wasn't enough, you can go up to 5. But usually that 3 minutes of pre-softening those stubborn gray hairs works. Now, another question I get a lot is, can we just do spots? Can we just do the areas that just have the bleach? You can't. I mean, that have the gray hair. You can't. You have to do the whole brow, because those areas that you put the blonde paste are going to lighten the hairs around it as well, which means when you deposit the color, you're not getting that uniformed look. Okay, and it could look very highlighted-y or very blotchy too. It can look. Okay, So those are the 3 reasons why you'd use the bleaching paste. I'm going to answer this one because it's no. Would you do this on lashes? No, you would not bleach lashes whatsoever. That is not safe. It's very close to the eye area, so you do not bleach lashes. Yeah, this is only strictly for brows. Okay, so then your application. So it would be 2 centimeters still. Here you need this 2 centimeters. Okay, it'd be 2 centimeters, and you're using only oxidant cream. So you would take the oxidant cream and you would mix it with the 2 centimeters of the blonde brow. And when you're mixing it, it's going to look pretty chunky at first. Don't let that deceive you, because people are like, oh, your product is, something's wrong with it, it's defective. Nope. And even when you bleach your hair, it's very, very chunky. You have to work at it until it becomes stir it until it becomes a very grainy paste. Once it's that grainy paste, it's good to go onto the brows. And you're mixing 23 to 25 drops of the oxidant cream. I usually go up to 25. If I'm doing my full 2 centimeters, that 25 is what I use. Okay, give me 1 second. Would you? The bleaching the brows, which have been previously tinted, is that because you want to correct the mistake of them being darker because they were dark? No, because what happens if you're like, oh wow, that's a bleaching paste now, I can correct that customer that complained about how dark my brows and how dark the service I did for them, and they don't like it, and now I can lighten it with the bleach paste in the same seeding. You can't. That bleaching paste that you mix with the oxidant, what's happening when you put on the brows, the oxidant's penetrating into the hair, and there's already the color that has been deposited into the hair. That color with the bleaching paste, that color with the oxidant that's now deposited with the bleaching paste will activate it and make it darker. So you're actually making the brows darker than lighter. So don't use that method. Okay. Okay, let me just get to your question, Sally, by the slides. Let's just hold off for a second. So we said that we've mixed it, and then now we have the application, right? So then you can see in the slide where it says mix it for about 2 minutes to get that grainy paste. When you're applying it, and also what I suggest too, strongly suggest, is put protection cream when you're bleaching, because first of all, sensitivities. Second of all, it can lighten the skin. So if somebody has been tanning or somebody has a color, it can lighten it, and then you see the definition. So please use the protection cream. When you apply it, you're going every direction possible. Against, in there, cake it on. Make it nice and full. That's another reason why the protection cream is good to use. I make it look so full that it's like white caterpillars on the brows, because if you miss anything and if any hair is sticking out, because what you'll see if you're working with hairs that are very thick and stubborn, they're sprouting all over the place, they're going to start coming out of the bleaching paste. So I always have some bleaching paste in my bowl, and I go through that. If I'm leaving off for 3 minutes, I go back and I touch it up just to make sure those hairs that are trying to get out are still being covered. Because if they don't get all grasped with the bleaching paste, once again, you're going to have a definition of different colors or different shades. So it's not going to look nice for your customer. Okay, so once you've done that, you'll see the timing right here. Okay, so level number 1 is 5 minutes, level number 2 is 12 minutes, and level number 3 is 20 minutes. And you can see by the chart, I'm a 4N. If I came in because I had black platinum blonde hair, I would go fully 20 minutes, as you can see down there. And I wasn't a warm tone, so this would look perfect, and I can just walk out. So you can see by the charts. You cannot come in with a 4N and be a 7N after 20 minutes. In that same seating, you will damage the brows, and they will come out without any brows. Okay. So another thing, as I was mentioning, is if you wanted, so for example, if I was going in to deposit a color and I wanted the cotton candy pink, which I'm going to show you in the slides coming up, I want to leave it fully 20 minutes because I want that brightness. I want that crisp cotton candy pink. So that's why I'm going to leave it to 20. If I wanted it more of a rose gold, where it's not so bright or soft like a cotton candy pink, but I want it more rose, I would leave it then 12 minutes. So that's how you'll manipulate it. So let me just see quickly some questions here that I know we said we leave to the end, but I have a hard time going back up and seeing. When do you begin timing how long color is on? I start it right away after I apply it. If you find that you're applying it a little bit slowly because you're very, very precise, start the timing after you're done that first brow. Okay, but I start them after I'm done both brows because I can control the timing. I know how to remove it. But if you're having a hard time, just start it after you've done the first brow. Sorry, I'm losing all the questions because there are more people asking questions. Did I answer that question for you, Sally? It takes me sometimes a few minutes to just apply cushioning thick, bushy brows. Yes, I did answer it. So yeah, so Sally, if you have to do that, start the timing after the first brow. Then you go work on the second brow, and then you know how many minutes the first brow was left on, and if you have to remove it right after you're done the second brow. So hopefully that helps. What is the max time tint can be left on before it stops processing? It's an hour. Tint is an hour. Bleaching paste, do not leave it past 20 minutes, or because bleaching paste, so the color gels, the color tints, and the oxidant will stop working after an hour. The bleaching paste with the oxidant continues working. So make sure you always clean it properly too. So, so 1 hour, okay? Are we able to pause on the questions for a second so I can go through the slides? I can try and answer them all, but so many came through so all of a sudden. So if someone has extremely dark brows with grays coming in, would you still bleach, and how long? If someone has extremely dark brows with grays, yeah, just 3 minutes. It's just a pre-softening. Because if they want to keep the dark brow, you got to just go back in and deposit the color again, just to even it out, and maybe leave it for 30 seconds to a minute. But you have to do just three minutes pre-softening. I only do 3 minutes. Unless the gray is very coarse, I go up to 5 minutes. So I hope that answered your question, Shelly. Ashley, you said if we bleach and it's brassy and add graphite. Yeah, no. So if I came in and I was platinum blonde and then I bleached it for up to 20 minutes, like you see in this chart. I bleached it up for 20 minutes, but then I'm a warm tone. So in that hair, it doesn't look like this. This looks much more cooler, but it looks more reddish. I just take the graphite on its own and mix it with the oxidant, and then I put it on, but I take it off every 10 seconds just to make sure that warmth came out. If I leave it too long on there, if I leave it for the full 1 minute, it might make the brow darker again. So hopefully that made that helped you, Ashley, with your question. Oh. Perfect. You're welcome, Candace. I hope that answered it. Lulia, I hope I'm saying your name right. But how long after their last tinting can you bleach their brows? Like, for example, if they just decide to go lighter or as a style change, or is it only used on virgin brow? No, you can use it on somebody who's tinted before, the bleaching paste. But I say don't use it the same seeding if you want to correct the brow because it was too dark and you want to bleach it. If it's past 3 weeks after they tinted and then you wanted to bleach it, it's fine. I would say 4 weeks. Wait 4 weeks. So after they tinted, after 4 weeks, and they want to come back because they just want to change their look of their brow because maybe they've changed the color of their hair, then 4 weeks for me is 4 weeks for me is fine. I don't like to do it anything sooner because you don't want it to be over processing. So hopefully that answered your question, Lulia. Perfect, Shelly. Perfect. Ashley. It's okay. Ashley. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now we can go back to the slide. Awesome. Okay. I want to be able to answer everybody's questions as well. Okay, so here's just like some tips, just for eyebrows, not for lashes, only with oxidant cream, not the liquid. It must not be mixed with colors. You're welcome, Lulia. I also had people ask me, well, they buy the blonde brow because they're thinking it's a lighter brown, right? It's like more of a blondish brown. So they mix it then with some other colors. No mixing. Okay, it is on its own to strip away color. Okay, and do not leave longer than 20 minutes because you will for sure damage the hair. Okay, so now we have these colors. So these little color charts that will help you see what the ratios. So for example, number one, if we wanted to give them a natural look, a soft color look, then you're going to take your natural brown with your light brown. So your three, we have numbering system with your 3 and 3.1 equal parts. And then you're going to leave it on 5 to 8 minutes, depending on the darkness they want. Okay, warm shades, we talked about it. You can either take your red. If you're not trusting the red, you can take the chestnut, and you can warm up the browns, the 3.1 and the 3. So the natural brown and light brown, you can warm it with the red or with the chestnut. But look at the ratio right there. It's 0.1. It's not equal parts, so it's very, very little. It's a pin size amount. Then when you go to the cool shades to give them that cool look, like as this model right here, equal parts of the graphite and the brown, whichever brown. I mix it with both. If I have a client that's lighter brows and their hair is cool blonde, then I'm going to take the light brown and mix the graphite. If it was like me, more darker brows, then I would take the natural brown with the graphite. Okay, I will answer the question soon. Just give me 1 second, Jesse. Then we have the soft brow but dominant hair. So some people want that, I wouldn't say washed out. We want to say like how here it's a soft brow. They want that more softer brow color than their hair color. So you can bleach. If their brow color was dark to begin with, then you're gonna have to bleach it and just put the graphite on its own. So your 2 centimeters will be your graphite. And then remember, depending on the bleaching, how long you want to leave it, that's how much more in depth that the graphite will be. Then you have your bleach brows. We talked about that. If you want to leave it 5 minutes, 12 minutes, 20 minutes, and they can just walk out. So if they want that more washed out look. And then comes the color customizing. These fun colors I really, really love. And I've done all 3. Popular one was the rose gold. And then second came actually the purple. So these are really, really fun colors to do. And as you can see the ratios, when it comes to the rose shades, you have your full like 1.5 something like centimeters of your red. You have more of your red, and you have a little bit more than a pin size of your blue. But don't worry, if you've done it and somehow it came out more redder than pink, I just take a little bit of the blue, put it back in with a couple of drops of my oxidant, mix it, and then it tends to fix it. And sometimes I play around, I put a little bit of graphite if I found that it was too warm, but that's because I've gotten comfortable to be able to add more mixing to correct it. And then you have your purple. So your purple will be, once again, your ratio of your red with 0.5. So you're going to have half of the 1 centimeter of the tint of the blue. So you're going to have much more than if you were doing the rose gold or the cotton candy pink. And then for your blue shades, which are, I call them like the steel blue, then you would take your 1.5 like centimeters of your blue, and then put 0.5 centimeters of your graphite. Okay, and then it gives you the timing. When it says 5 to 10, that depends on the desired of the darkness you want to achieve for the customer. Like what do they want? If they don't want it as dark, then you would leave it at 5. As gradually you go higher, the darkness will increase depending on what they want. For the rose gold, yes, Cheryl, you will have to bleach first to create that. If they had though blonde brows, I've tried on somebody who had blonde brows, I didn't have to bleach it. Okay, but then it might not be as crisp, that cotton candy, that pink, as you can see in the brows, just that hue of pink, it might not be as crisp. Before you, there was a question from Jesse. So if I understand right, if we know the color we want to use on the client, we can pre-mix it before the client arrives. So you can, but I always say it doesn't really affect your results if you prepare it and then have your customer be coming in, but it's already the tints there. You're just going to monitor it. If your customer was arriving late, or if you prepared a half an hour earlier, it won't be as crisp the colors as you want them and could affect it lasting that long. But if it was just a 5-minute to 10-minute timing, it's fine. I've tested it. I've done it where it's oxidized for 10 minutes and then put it on as opposed to not oxidizing, and it was okay. But you kind of want a rule of thumb is prep, mix when they're after they're prepped. But it didn't affect it. So hopefully that answered your question, Shelly. Let me know. Was that Shelly? Jessie. Sorry, Jessie. Okay, awesome. So now let's go to the final types of colors. And you're welcome, both to Cheryl and Jessie. You're welcome. Then you have your red. If you want it to be this, once again, if they have blonde brows, the brows don't need to be bleached. You can achieve the results. But if they want it more crisper, then you might have to bleach it. But the blonder the brow is, the natural brow, the less time you'll leave the bleaching paste. But half of the time it will work without having to bleach it, okay? Because they're light, they're blonde. So for the red, if they want that bright, just straight put the red on, 10 minutes. Remember, it takes 10 minutes for the red to process, so monitor that. Don't remove it before because it won't be that rich. Then happy blonde, so if you want to soften it, we talked about that. If you came in and you just wanted to soften the brow, you have those 3 levels. And then if we want to contrast, we want to bleach it before and then put it back on. So could you please clarify, Yaro, could you please clarify how to remove the bleaching paste before tinting? Yes, so you can remove actually with the non-oily eye makeup remover because it has, so first do it dry because once again, you don't want anything dripping into their eye. So first remove the bulk of the bleach with a dry cotton pad, and then I saturate my cotton round with the eye makeup remover, and then I remove it because the eye makeup remover has hair strengthening properties in it, has amino acids to help moisturize, and you just process the hair. You know, you strip the color. So amazing, use it, and they'll feel the softness, and there'll be no not damaging, but the hairs will still be strong. Okay. So do that. You're welcome, Yarrow. You're welcome. When tinting, do you always need to process the brows before applying tint? No. You mean bleaching them? That's an option. I hope I'm answering your question correct, Terry. Let me know if I answered it wrong. The bleaching is optional if they want to change completely the color of their like my brows are black. So if I completely wanted to change because my hair went red and I wanted to make them red, or I want to make cotton candy pink, I have to bleach before. Only adding tint. Let me just see if I'm understanding your question. Oh, sorry. So when tinting, do you always need to process? So process, you mean do you have to do the prep work? I'm just having a little hard time understanding because it's prepping the brows, mixing your tint, and then applying the tint on the brows and leaving it on for the desired amount of time. Let me just go through to the last couple of PowerPoints that we have here, and I'm going to ask all the questions. So if we can hold up on the questions for a second, let me finish this presentation. I'm going to answer so the flow of the presentation goes well, and then I can answer your questions. So because when we're talking about shaping, so coloring, so we already went through all the colors. We saw how we can create different types of unique trends out there and to cater to everybody, right? You're not leaving anybody out. But now it comes to shaping. So we do have these amazing brow styling strips, which would have been even nice to use during quarantine for your clients, just in time, just so they don't botch their brows when they come back to you to fix their brows. But these strips are really, really awesome because you can shape and tint at the same time. If you're somebody who might be really new at tinting or has struggles with, sorry, not tinting, shaping, but struggle shaping brows because it's a hit or miss. Like you can actually, not damage, but you can make a mistake on the brows and then it shows, and then it takes time for the hair to grow back. And sometimes for some people, the hair doesn't grow back. So these strips will actually also give you the confidence how to shape the brows accordingly to how they should be, from the beginning of the bridge of the nose to the corner of the bridge of the nose, to the corner of the eye, where the arch should be, where the peak of the arch should be, where the tail should end. This strip, when you put it on there, it gives you that appropriate shape of the brow. And then once you've placed it on and you put the tint on top, you've done 2 services in under under 15 minutes. So it cuts down time. But it's also a good way if you're mobile as well. I bring these strips with me. On that note, let's just show a before and after so you can see. So it gave an arch. She didn't have one before. Okay, but appropriately where it should be from the corner of the iris if she looks straight. Okay. Then we wanted to talk about our little sneak peek of Bravado. And Bravado is from an Australian wax company called Caron Lab. Now, Bravado came out and it is a gel wax. Okay. And this is also going to give you confidence and to be able to give precision and the desired shape that you want to give your customer without any oops. Right? Because sometimes when you drop the wax, oops, oh my goodness, or if you pulled it off and you look at the brow and oh shoot, this gel wax gives you that precision that you need. Doesn't drip anywhere. Amazing. I showed a video that Holly did, and so Holly is the head trainer for Caron Lab. So if you, at the end of the slides, I'll have the Instagram and the website for you to go watch the webinars as well and sign up for the new webinars. But she even showed using this Bravado gel wax with male clientele. When I did the beard tinting webinar, we showed how you can use this as well to do shaping around the beard and not having it drip and pulling off unnecessary hairs where you ruin the shape, right? And that's sometimes the concern of people who are waxing brows. A lot of professionals might be scared to do this. So you won't have this, you'll be working at ease with this sculpting gel wax. So if you look at the features and benefits, this luxurious sculpting gel wax gives you unsurpassed control. So very true. I've tried it myself. Formulated to have a gel consistency, which makes it ideal for contouring as it wraps around the brows, okay, with ease. Contains a high quality synthetic resin. So if anybody here has sat in any of Holly's webinars, she has talked about the difference between using a synthetic resin or a natural resin, and how natural resins can, they are not consistent from the tree sap when it comes out. They can create allergic reactions down the road. They're not consistent in color and smell, and the high quality synthetic resins will always stay consistent on you. Also, they will not go brittle. So as a hard wax, if you're using a hard wax, many hard wax out there, when you pull it off, it becomes brittle and there's still pieces left onto the client. With Caron Lab waxes, you will not have that issue. Okay, and then you can see a little bit, let me see if it was a recording. Oh wait, this one didn't have a recording. So you can follow, sorry, I thought I had a recording, but I guess this one didn't. But follow her webinars, okay, to see, and also check this wax out, because apart from the Bravado gel wax, which is good to do that contouring, it's a gel, it has a little bit more grip. You might want something as well for your hypoallergenic, for your customers that are sensitive. And the Brilliance Hard Wax won the Dermoscope Award in 2019 for best hypoallergenic wax, sensitive wax, and it doesn't go brittle. It's so forgiving as well. Okay, so these two waxes are amazing to put alongside and use with your brow tinting. You will create the wow brows that your customers covet all the time. They will be happy to come back to you with these elite type of products. So now we're just ending closer to the end of care, and I'm going to answer your questions. So care, and somebody had this question at the beginning, do we have to use this? I would say yes, because that's how anything you end your service with, even when you do a manicure, don't they end your manicure with a oil service on your cuticles as well on your hand lotion, just to give that conditioning? So yes. So you're going to use the styling gel at the end. You as a professional is going to put this onto their brows afterwards, and then with a disposable mascara one. And then if they do want to buy this, you can have it as a retail item for those customers that want to use it to seal in the service. Because right now, when you put it at the end of the service, you're hydrating, you're protecting, giving that moisture, but you're also, you're also sealing in the service of the tint. So this customer, if their summer season is coming, if they're a swimmer a lot, they sweat a lot, they need to buy this and have it with them. Another way they can use it too, which I love using it, is because it softens the brows. If your brows are very unruly, if your client still wants to fill them in or so, and they're very unruly and they don't stay in place, use this every morning as well, and it softens and it conditions, and the hair falls nicely down for you to fill it in. Okay. Then we have this added service that you want to give to your client at the end that no other salon will be doing this unless they're sitting into the webinars and they're going to start using this. But use your protection cream as an added final touch to give them these massage. Okay, so there's about 6 little eye steps massage that you can do, either with more straight movements, more circular movements, and more tapotement, like more tapping movements, as you can see by the types of, in a better picturing, I don't know if you can see it from yours, there's straight lines, there's squiggly lines, and there's also dots. So that's, you know, what type of movements you have to do or pressures you have to do. Give this around their temple, forehead, occipital bones. Give this massage to them for about a minute or so after the treatment. They will not go nobody else. They will be coming to you, because either you can charge a little bit more, or it could be a nice little free service that you add on the end to make you stand apart from the next person down the street. Okay, so try and so your protection cream will be working as well as a massage cream. Okay, then you have your final, your home care package. If you want to bring for them to use at home to be able to soften or give them a light treatment, a mask treatment as well. So this castor oil right here, I use it every night before I go to sleep on my brows and on my lashes, because it does help to get thick again. The castor oil does help to get the lashes and the brows thicker again. And it's like a mask. So you use it overnight. Then if they feel that they want to have, yes, for lashes, but on their brows too, they're losing some brows. They need to regrow those brows and make it thicker, the area, because they've lost some hairs. They can use a booster. And our booster is for both your brows and lashes. Okay, all of them are for both brows and lashes. Okay, and the final thing we want to mention here is this brow bar. And I know after every webinar that I do, I get people calling me back or emailing me back and say it was the best purchase I bought. You know, this keeps everything so tidy. It keeps everything there for you to see and pull out of and work with your customer. No need to go into your drawer and be like, oh, I can't find, oh shoot, where's the color? You know, and it just keeps it all nice and organized as well. I'm mobile. Not just trade shows, but that's my business. I'm mobile. I go to people's places and I bring this with me. I put my little strips in there for my waxing, and I've got it all to go. Also in the salon, this is another reason why people say they love this and they didn't realize about it and wanted to invest now in it, is on your salon, on your table there, when it's sitting there and your client comes in, it's coming for another service of yours to get done. And then they walk in, they see that they're coming in to get maybe a manicure or just a waxing, and it's these are easy add-on services. And they look at it and they say, what's this brow styling? Oh, I want to get this done. It made a sale without you being there. So invest in it. It's a good product to have. Okay, so before we answer the questions, we want to say that the result for your client will be wow brows. Okay, and that's what we want to excite them with. We want them to walk out and feel, even just from a brow service, feel fresh, okay, and a new person. And we're enhancing the beauty. And then the final page, this is the final page. I know I keep on saying final. This is the final page. So like us on Facebook, RefectoCil North America. Give us some reviews. I like to go read them. I like to go help out people. I like to see what's the thoughts out there, even after the webinars too. Let me know. I know I speak fast. I know that's my flaw, so I have to correct that. But give me feedback as well, because I want to make sure that the information that I'm giving out to everyone is adequate and everybody's happy with it. Okay, and then you can also go to RefectoCil North America Instagram. Follow us there, please. Then my own account as a trainer, Barista by RefectoCil. Follow me there too. Tag me in your befores and afters. I love to see everybody's results and stuff. I like to comment on them. So yeah, tag me in those. Visit RefectoCilEducation.com, because every webinar goes on there and stays there. So if you ever miss anything, you can go back and watch webinars beyond webinars and small videos that we put together that you can even use in your salon when you open up again to advertise your tinting services. And if you have any questions, refectocil.education@cbungroup.com. Email me. I will answer them. I know I've been getting a lot of overwhelming emails, especially with the infection control webinar that I did. So I get like 300 emails a day that I have to answer. So if I don't get to you right away, I will get to you because I try to knock down all of them, like get back to everybody. Okay, so just be patient with me. I will answer your questions. And then as well, we talked about Quran Lab. So please follow Quran Lab at their Instagram, QuranLab_North America, and visit the website at www.quranlab.com because we're going to be having June webinars soon. We have them all prepared and we're going to launch them out on our medias here, our social media. So please look out for those and join. We'd like to have everybody join both Quran Lab and RefectoCil. So let's go to the questions quickly. So please, can you clarify so this is for Terry, please, can you clarify if my client wants a natural brown and their natural brows are brown, do you suggest adding the graphite or just apply the tint over the natural brow? So if your client wants natural brown and they're brown, it's fine. If there's no warmth in them, there's no need to add the graphite. The graphite is to give them a coolness. If they do want them to look more cool, you can add the graphite. I feel like the graphite enhances that brown. I like it. So test it out on your customers, see if they like it, and see if they don't mind the brows to be cooler. But if their brows are warm undertone, you will have to use the graphite because they came in to get brown, not redishy, not chestnut. Terry, prep, yes, prep is very, very necessary. How do I fix brows if they're too dark? Saline solution. Please go purchase a saline, sorry, not saline. Please go purchase a tint remover, okay? Because a tint remover will be your savior for those customers that are going to freak out when it's really, really dark, okay? But monitor your timing and wipe it off and show it to them during that timing and then reapply it, okay? But have that tint remover from RefectoCil because it's going to work with the system of RefectoCil. Ooh, I want to smell the wax. Yeah, it's got that honeysuckle smell as well. Beautiful, beautiful smell. The bravado. So Candace, you know, if you want to smell it, you can purchase it, right? You can try it. So give it a try because the smell is what everybody like. They love it, and even just the look of it, the holographic look of it. It looks so pearly. It looks really nice. So I would suggest you can make your salon smell really pretty too with the bravado. Holly Hayes. Is that what you're asking, Jesse? It's Holly Hayes. And then Tanya, what would you suggest retail costs on this item? Which item? The styling gel. If it's a styling gel, it's about $39 bucks retail. On the lashes too. If it's the styling gel, yes, you use it on both. All the aftercares are for both brows and lashes. Colette, if a client has a chlorinated pool, can you wax their lashes without risk of chemical reaction when they swim? That's a good question because I know that you wouldn't want to freshly do a wax and then go swimming with the chlorinate. I think you'd have to wait 24 hours, but that's something if Holly is here can answer. But I wouldn't go automatically right into the pool after a wax. Okay. Tanya, CC, we have a pool. I suggest, oh, there we go. You had an answer. Awesome. So I was correct, but 24 to 48. Yeah. Even going into the sun, you don't want to go directly and sit right into the sun after you've done a processing service. So the same thing is with your lashes and your brows as well. Especially your brows because it's on the skin there. Thank you, Candace. I'm so happy. Kayla, thank you, thank you. Samantha, thank you. Diana, awesome. Thank you, thank you. Oh, thank you so much for everybody. Because we went a little bit too over time right now. Thank you, Isabel. So because we went a little too over time right now, any questions that you have, please email me. If you want to get me through my social media as well, through my Instagram, emails, just send me and I will do my best to answer it all for you guys. Sorry, we went a little over time. I know it's a long weekend, so I hope you'll enjoy it. Thank you again for being here with me today. We had quite a good attendance, even though it was the holiday. So I appreciate that a lot. And look out for our next webinars. Okay, so if I didn't answer your question, I will get back to it when you send it to me as well. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.